Well, hello, everybody. We're back again. Real Deal is on a roll this week, trying to keep up with everything that's happening. Today's video, or this morning's video, I'm going to be going over trash collection. Haven't talked a lot about trash collection lately, but it's back in the news in Townsend. As usual, the new word is probably not out there. It's out there to a certain point, and there's quite a bit of confusion. And um, I'm I'm probably not going to resolve all the confusion, but I want to bring everybody up to speed with what the issues are this week and why and what the confusion is all about, where it's coming from, and what's at risk. I basically trash collections at risk if not really gone. Um, it all goes well. It's been an ongoing saga. Just because we went to purple bags back in October doesn't mean it's a done deal. I'm sorry, but it's a mess. It's really a mess, and it's not been right. It's been a problem going back. I'm going to take this all the way. I'm going to keep going back and reminding people about 2022. I know that sounds like, what are you talking about, Cindy? Well, in 2022, when Veronica Kell got on the board the first time, she declared war on trash. She said that we should get rid of trash collection. She said that in 2022. So here we are in 2025, and she's making good on that promise. And I've mentioned it before. I played the video from that select board meeting when she said that, and her and Chaz went on their plan from there moving forward. And Chaz, you know, I don't want to keep going back to the last board, but everything kind of has come together and just, things just didn't come out of nowhere this year. This has been coming. Um, I've been on my soapbox. In fact, this trash issue a year ago is what put me on my soapbox. That made me create my channel for what it is. This YouTube channel was brought to 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 the world because of the trash issue. And I was just beside myself, and I said, I got to start. Nobody's getting this information, and I know. And plus, they had issues with getting the video. They couldn't get the meetings online. So if you didn't go to the meetings, you weren't going to know anything. This year, they're using executive session to keep us in the dark. We'll get there too. But last year, there were transmission problems. They couldn't get their videos up. Nobody could. If you didn't attend a meeting in person, you weren't going to attend or find out what happened. And since I guess I put an end to that. And now they're using executive session, which is going to bite the town in the butt badly. It's going to cost the town money. I know the state's going to start finding us at some point, because the Attorney General is not going to take this sitting down. And I'm going to be, I understand that one open meeting law complaint has already been filed regarding the executive sessions to do budget negotiation or deliberations. And I'll be filing another one that will include videos, which is how I like to do things, to show the Attorney General, look at, I'm just making this stuff up. This isn't my word against theirs. Here's the video to prove it. That's how I do it. In fact, I don't know that I filed an open meeting law complaint in a while that didn't have videos attached. I don't know if I have. Maybe years ago I did. But I think all of my open meeting law complaints have included video. And can't argue that. Some of the video's mine, some of it's the town's. Give me a break, people. I'm not kidding. But yeah. Anyway, I'm digressing. But this is very upsetting. The transparency has long gone in this town. There isn't any. Just forget it. Just don't expect it because it ain't there. But those of us in the know are taking action to bring it back. Oh, my foot's going to sleep. Anyway, that's what happens when your laptop's in your lap. And anyway, it's a long story. So anyway, Trash is in jeopardy, and you got to pay attention. If you want to know anything about trash, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to the town, but they won't tell you. Um, they don't know how. I don't think they don't care either. But pay attention to my channel. I'll do what I can. There are some Facebook groups out there. There's a website somebody's got running. I mean, I don't trust any one source. In fact, I encourage you not to simply. I mean, I want you to watch my channel. Of course I do. But please look everywhere for information. There's a lot of gobbledygook about trash in the budget. So be very careful. I'm going to try to have everything make as much sense as I can today. I'm going to talk about trash in this video. I do still plan. It's Sunday before town meeting, so I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to be doing a video on the not the ballot, the town meeting warrant. I'm going to be doing another video on a couple of articles, 18 and 19, which are near and dear to my heart, the veterans exemptions. I really want to see those pass. I want you to understand them, and I want you to support our veterans. I'm not going there right now. Just stay tuned for that video. It's coming. I'm going to have data, and to please beg for your support for our disabled veterans. Anyway, trash. This covers over 3,000 homes, residences are impacted by household trash collection, and it may be gone. The Board of Selectmen did vote at the last meeting on the 29th to end town-supported trash collection. And they're blaming us. They're blaming us. But I want to keep bringing you back to 2022 when Veronica Kell said we're getting rid of trash. It took her this long. It took her 3 years. But I think she has. I really do think it's done. And sometimes I admit, sometimes I can be a pessimist. And so it's only the beginning of May. Things move fast in this town. So keep your mind open, but I do recommend nobody buy another purple bag. Don't buy a package. If you're not going to use, don't buy one purple bag more than in fact, you're going to use between now and June 30th. If you're not going to need that many, go with a friend or a neighbor to chip in together on a package of purple bags, if that's what you want to do. Because I do believe on June 30th, that's the last day of trash collection that's funded by the town. I really do. And I'm going to explain it, but I just want to save your butt, it's going to cost us enough money as it is, that save your $3.50 per bag, $17 per package, whatever. Even I guess the smaller ones are available now. I've only ever bought one package of 5, and I'm not buying another one because I don't use that much trash. Anyway, so just don't overbuy. Some people go in the store and they buy a whole bunch. No, if you're not going to use them, don't buy them, because they're just a plastic bag like any other bag you could buy it in Market Basket. And they don't sell purple bags. They might have purple bags, but they're not our purple bags. Anyway, don't let me confuse you. Sorry. Anyway, that would be fun. No, we don't need to do fraud here and confuse everybody. Shaw's has got enough to contend with. So, the Board of Selectmen had a meeting on the 29th in which, keep explaining it. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I was going to do something different first, but here we are. I missed my point. All right. So on April 29th, the Board of Selectmen had their regular meeting. It was over 2.5 hours long. It was, yeah. Was it? Let me I didn't let me see. It's still on my phone. Let me see. I'm just going to take time, and because my head is spinning over this whole mess. Let me get to the right place. All right. Yes, it was the open session of the Board of Selectmen's meeting was 2.5 hours long. Then they had an hour and a half long executive session in which they came out of back to open session. And that's the key. I mean, that's the key. I'm going to show you that part. I was there just about sleeping in the hallway waiting for this nightmare to end. And we'll get there. But they voted to do away with trash collection. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, which has already been seen out there on other videos, both the Towns video, and I did a short video the day after that meeting to talk about the budget. I'm just going to show you a screenshot of what budget we're going to be presented with at town meeting. And I want to be very, very clear that there's a town meeting warrant out there. The article for the budget, I don't even know what article number that is, but it's whatever. It's on there. I'm not losing my mind. There's a budget that's got all kinds of line items and the usual. I don't think it's well printed, but I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. It's kind of messy, but that's gone. Just don't even. People are going to go to town meeting thinking that's what you're going to be looking at. It's not even that. The new budget doesn't even resemble that budget. In fact, let me show you. Let me just show you. That's not, whoops. That's not the right one. Here we are. In fact, I'm going to get out of the picture altogether here. Here we go. Can you see that? This is the only thing you're going to see at town meeting. And I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. This is not page one of several. This is page one of one. This is the town budget that the Board of Selectmen is going to ask you to vote on at town meeting. In other words, all those line items that we are used to going through, no, we can't tell you those. Those are secret. We did this in executive session, so it's a secret now. They deliberated the budget in executive session, and this is what they came up with. Now, you can, freeze this video and study this on your own time. Download the video, come back to it later. I suggest you do that. That way, I mean, you could screenshot this. You could pause the video, screenshot this, or come back later, whatever, and find whatever minute we're on. My screen is showing about 13 and a half minutes on this video. So feel free to look at this, but this is what you're going to get on Tuesday. Nothing more and maybe less. Knowing this board, less. But this is all you're going to get. The Board of Selectmen are actually presenting this as the budget, and they're going to insist that you must vote on this. You must approve this budget because of some bullshit about the unions. It's not the unions. This is unheard of. I don't think there's a town in Massachusetts that has ever presented a budget that looked like this. I think this is a first, and I think that somebody will be making a motion to take no action on this article. That's what I think, because this is unheard of. This is insulting, incompetent, and extremely, I don't know what to call it. There aren't words for me to describe what this is. But this is the budget the Board of Selectmen are going to insist. It's all you're going to get. They don't have the budget, but they split it up in functional sections, which is the normal. These are the categories. We get these categories, and when usually at town meeting, when we go through the budget, and then we look at each department within it and ask all our questions. Sometimes it takes a while, but we ask the questions. We get some kind of nonsensical answer sometimes, but we get questions, answers, debate, blah, blah, blah. And then we will vote by each segment. But after we, as the voters, the legislative body, which is town meeting, we go over it and go, okay, whatever. I guess we don't have much of a discussion here. I mean, some departments we just, yeah, whatever, fine. We get it. No biggie. They're easy. But this is all we're going to get. And in that executive session, when they came out of executive session, this is what they presented, and they voted on this. They voted on each line item here. Like they had their own little mini town meeting. Outrageous. But if you scroll down to number 7, solid waste, we have the fiscal year 25 budget. That's the one we're in right this minute for $839, $839,664. And then the fiscal year 26 budget, where they wanted the override, there was $789,700. And since we didn't get the override, they're sticking it up our butts and saying we're going to cut out curbside trash and we're going to budget solid waste to $19,700. And what that represents is town buildings, which has to be there no matter what. We have to pick up the trash. I mean, that's a no-brainer that we have to pick up the trash at town hall, the fire departments, senior center, library, all the departments that have trash that Shaw's picks up under the main contract. That's all they're going to be doing according to this vote. That's a 97% cut that solid waste is taking. And if you look through this thing, what's amazing, let's start from the top. I'm only going to stay here briefly. We'll talk about it in another segment, in another video. But public safety is going up 5.74. General government's going down. Public safety is going up. Education had to go up. Education is our biggest department, and we need to be responsible for them. But that's going up 6.24. I'm not sure how that's all going to fall out with what the school, because in May is when the schools come up, really get their final. And that was because the legislature just finalized the budget, the state budget. So then the schools, this will adjust a little bit again, possibly. I don't know if it will. It might. It would usually, the only way it can move is down, which is a good thing because of the way school budgets are legally done, which is what confuses everyone. This could go down, but it can't go up because the state just cleared the budget. The state, I think they just did. Maybe I could be wrong. I think I am. But the legislature just did theirs. I don't think the state has finalized it. This would be unheard of. They still got more work to do, but let me backtrack on that. So anyway, I'm going to move on beyond the schools. Highways and streets going down. Now, I don't know. Wait a minute. Forget it. I'm not talking about the whole budget tonight or this morning on this video. I'm just doing trash. So anyway, but look, if you look at this whole thing, our debt's going up and our insurance is going up. Of course, the debt's going up. It's mostly because we're not paying principal. We're only paying interest on most things. So anyway, that's true. We don't have the money. They want to spend money on all kinds of frivolous things, but they don't want to pay down any of our debt. So that's how that works. But anyway, this shows that there is no money in the budget, that they are presenting at town meeting for trash. Now, yes, somebody could make a motion on the floor to amend this to say we're going to increase that by $700,000. But let me get to that. Let me get to why that's going to send us into orbit. All right. But first, I'm going to get rid of this person. Let me close that. All right. And this is a mess. I just can't I have to keep saying that. It's terrible. But it's coming. It's been coming since 2022 when Veronica Kell declared war on trash. So, and Chaz kept it up after she got off the board. And now we're back. Anyway, so I'm going to play why, I think there's people in town saying Cindy doesn't know what she's talking about. Stand by. All right, let me play the video. This was not, if you look at the town's YouTube channel and you look at the official version of the Board of Selectmen's meeting, this isn't on it. I play my video, I record before and after the meeting because that's usually when the most important things are said. I think some of you have figured that one out, but maybe not. So what we're going to do, all right. So this is about, they're getting ready to adjourn. And then I asked them a question after they adjourned. This is the night, April 29th, they did their meeting. Then they went into executive session for an hour and a half. They just deliberated the budget in executive session, which is illegal, by the way. I keep saying it because it's a violation of open meeting law to do that. Very large violation. So then they came out of executive session, and then I had this conversation. Or they just pay attention. I know my volume's weird, but just pay attention.
Laura Schiffer and I, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does this mean trash is gone?
Yes.
Do I need to date this?
Trash is gone?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, they just adjourned. I saved you the adjournment actual vote. I'm going to play it again because it's quick. And I'm asking the question, does this mean trash is gone? And then Laura Schifrin is going to say yes. Does this mean trash is gone?
Yes.
Do I need to date this?
Yes, that's what that means. Does that mean trash is gone? Yes. And then Nelson Moy even said yes. They both confirmed that yes, trash is gone. And so they voted on that in executive session. Then they voted on it outside of executive session. I'm not going to bore you with that whole thing. Each line, they voted on each line, thinking that that's legal now because they did that in open session. No. How they came up with that list is in executive session, so that's a problem. They're going to find that out. The Attorney General will tell them. Unfortunately, the Attorney General takes 3-4 months to do that. They still haven't made their determination on the open meeting law complaints I filed in January. So, yes, they like the law doesn't apply to this board, apparently. So anyway, they voted. So this, through executive session votes in executive session, voting on the budget out of executive session, and then confirming after adjournment to me on my video that trash is gone. So yes, the Board of Selectmen have made it very clear that they just voted to do away with municipal, town-sponsored, curbside trash collection. Both trash, recycling, purple, all of it is no longer a thing based on what the Board of Selectmen just did. Now, let's fast forward. I want to put something up to just remind everybody about. Last year, I have a cat behind me. Yes, I have a cat. Last year, when all this started, I developed, Chaz was on this focus on, he was going to charge trash fees to everybody, whether you like it or not, which I knew was illegal, and it took me, I had to find the laws, which I did, which thank God ended this whole thing. Well, it's a longer story than that. But, and I developed this logo here for the No Trash Fee campaign. And I saved it. I'm not going to get rid of this because this is going to come back. But this is where some citizens, and I believe the Board of Health, and some of these citizens are Board of Health, some of these citizens are just public citizens, which is fine, and some of these citizens are on the Finance Committee. And they're talking trash fees now. And I can't say enough about how against I am, against trash fees I am. And the reason is, well, they're looking at a hybrid system. They want to try to present a hybrid trash collection plan, which I warn you is going to cost more than any plan we've ever come up with. And unfortunately, all the plans that are being presented are short-sighted. I can't say anything else. I can't, I just can't. I'm trying to get a better, here we are. I can't express, I can, I guess, I don't know. But I'm going to explain as best I can why this won't work. I have a number of reasons. One, they're talking about a hybrid plan. One where you put out purple bags, but you also have to pay a fee in order for the right to put out purple bags. And they're talking about revolving funds. I mean, unfortunately, the people, all of the people, whether it be FinCom people, private citizens, or Board of Health members, talking this, that they don't understand. None of these folks, I mean, they're trying. I'm not trying to shame them or put them out of business or say, you don't know what you're talking about. Only I do. Nope. Go ahead and listen to everybody. I encourage people to speak out. I do, even though I might disagree with them. But I have the right to speak out and disagree with them. And that's all I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to attack anyone, all right? I want to be very clear about that. But I just want my voice heard, which is why I have this channel. It's my voice. Nobody else in the room here. So, but unfortunately, those people trying to do this don't know how revolving funds, revolving accounts within a town budget function. They talked about enterprise funds. They've, which in some, when an uneducated format, they sound easy enough, but they're not. They need, all these kind of things need to get voted at town meeting. Let me back up a little bit. On Friday, May 2nd, the Board of Health called a meeting to talk about this. And we all showed up. I was there. Laura Schifrin on the Board of Selectmen was there. She's the liaison for the Board of Health. And then there was Don Priest, Kim Craven, the private citizens working on this. Jerry Bezikas from the FinCom was there. Kathy Spofford was there. Irene Congdon was there. Shaw's was there. Who else? I think that there might have been some other people. And the Board of Health was there. And they talking about all these presentations. And, everything, there was always a problem. And with some of the ideas, which, ideas are fine. But if we try to implement some of these, we could have, I asked that there be no revolt. I don't know. Because if don't vote anything on town meeting, because the Board of Selectmen still own this. They own the purse strings on contracts. If the Board of Selectmen don't sign a contract, there's no contract. And I think, I'm no lawyer, town council will have to, whatever happens between now and Wednesday, town council will have to be in this up to their waist to try to figure out which laws are being broken by who. And I don't think we can't make this work off the town meeting floor. And the only reason I say that is, if I back up to where I was going with some of the players here don't know how revolving funds work, don't know how enterprise funds work, and don't know or don't remember what we went through a year ago with the Board of Selectmen then trying to set up trash fees, and why that failed. Thank God. And all of this needs a separate warrant article, which isn't on the warrant and can't be added to the warrant. You can't establish revolving fund. You certainly can't establish an enterprise fund. And who would want to? I mean, I don't want to do a 5-hour video explaining why we would never want to do this. Because establishing some of these funds, they're not making money. Nobody's printing money here. They cost money. And when you think of us as a small town too, it's like, if a bigger community did some of these things, the administrative costs are the same, whether we have 9,000 residents or 29,000 residents. So, but we have to, it's going to cost us as a community more per person, per capita, than somebody else. So we got to keep it simple, people. And these trash fees, in my opinion, would be over $20 a month to start with, a minimum of over $20 a month. And probably more, maybe closer to 30. And the private citizens were presenting something less, I believe. There were a couple of things that were getting blown out there. But they were suggesting, I don't want to go too crazy with some of the presentations. You can watch the Board of Health meeting if you want on the town's page. I am not going to try to go through that thing. It's very busy and it's very confusing. If you don't watch the whole thing, you might not understand what happened, because there was debate, which was fine. But some of what was presented, it's still being presented as a hybrid. And that, gee, Shaw's has this cool contract with Dunstable, and they've got a hybrid system, and it's working for them, and they're getting charged this really small amount per their fee that the residents are paying is a small amount. And it's cheaper than anything we've heard of here in Townsend. And it sounded like, well, how do they get that? And I was kind of like, all right, where's the punchline here? There's a catch. There's small print somewhere, because there's no way, and I know Dunstable's smaller and much more affluent than we are. And I'm not trying to be mean to Dunstable or mean to us, but we're more a town in poverty, and Dunstable's a town in affluence. So they're more likely to get more perks because they're willing to pay for it. They're able to make things work. And they're willing to pay for it. And they'll make exemptions for those residents who really can. They have the ability to do that. We don't. We have to help our our residents who are in need and not forget about them, which keeps happening. Town hall keeps forgetting who lives here. So when the numbers were being presented by the private citizens on their research, they failed to really understand the full scope of the contract that Shaw's has with Dunstable. And Glenn Shaw stood up and reminded them of one important factor, that Dunstable has toters, which means Dunstable bought the toters for the town. And the reason that their contract for collection is so low is because they bought the toters. Oh, that changes things. Now, last year, we were voting and very resoundingly rejected toters. And I'm glad we did, because that would have set us up for 5 years of really growth in our trash collection costs. Not deliberately, nothing against Shaw's. I can list about 2 or 3 reasons why they would want toters, other than just convenience. It locks you in. You're in a contract, and you're not, because you bought these things, vendors kind of, they got you. And he's a businessman, and I support that. I support his intent, both as a business person and as somebody who really, he does care about this. This is his livelihood. He does care. He's not just trying to make every penny he can, but aren't we all? But he yeah, but he let everybody know that Dunstable bought the toters. And I remember that when we were voting on that last year, it was like, I think like $90. I was thinking, I've got that number in my head, and I asked him that at the meeting, and he said, no, you can get them as low as 50, but that's still $50 per household per toter. And depending on which way we went, it depends on the toter. I think that might have been a 32 gallon. I didn't get into it because I don't think we're going to go toters anyway. Because I said, no, that's another big expense that we'd have to purchase. So we don't have the money for trash collection. We're certainly not going to pay for trash collection and toters. So that's off the table. But that was presented. And then they kept going on this. Well, we could still do a hybrid plan. We can, have all these stickers, and we can charge fees. And I brought up a big problem that, one, trash fees are always optional. It doesn't mean you can still get your trash collection and not pay the trash, but yes, in a way, yes. If you don't pay your bill, that doesn't mean they can just leave the trash. Leaving trash on the side of the road is not a really good idea. The town needs to have a plan that is going to be more functional than not have high risk. If the town has trash collection, the town needs trash collection. If the town isn't going to have trash collection, then let's not have it. Getting into systems that are going to fail isn't with the intent of, well, if they don't pay the bill, we'll just stop collecting their trash. Okay. But the trash is still going to be put out. I don't think residents we're really slow on information. Excuse me. Pollen in my throat. Excuse me. Hold on. Wow. So having first, a hybrid program is confusing for residents. But if you're going to have, okay, I'm paying for my purple bags. Why aren't you picking them up? Then you're going to give me a trash fee. Communication's very slow around here. It took about 3 or 4 months after purple bags were put into effect for residents to understand that they had to get purple bags. It wasn't understood right up and through January. And I think there's still people that aren't quite sure how this works. And I can just drive around and I'm so confused with what I see. And And I'm not driving around every street, but I understand some people are privately contracted and their house looks different than everybody else's because they're not using purple bags. But if you have a trash fee program, you have to collect the fee. Somebody in town hall has to manage this. Oh, well, Carla will do it. I don't think she has time. If she has time, then we need to cut her hours. If we don't do this, then she's got too much time on her hands. And I'm only saying that as a joke. I'm just being a jerk. I don't mean that. I didn't realize that she was a full 40 hours. She's a 37 and a half hours or whatever. But I thought she was a little bit less than that. But that's what I get for not paying attention to everybody's hours. The managing the administrative side of trash fees is a lot more complicated than selling purple bags because we got vendors that are selling those and we're just getting the paperwork back. They're just reporting back. The vendor who's making the bags is selling them directly to the stores and we're just getting the paperwork. That's nothing. That is nothing. Okay? But actually collecting, sending out trash fee bills, then residents, it's a voluntary program. When you have trash fees, this is the law. This is not just how we should do it. This is the actual law. You cannot charge people a fee for service they're not using. And they have to be informed. Nobody can go out and sell us things that we don't know we bought. Right? And that includes the town. That includes trash collection. So you have to make sure I understand that you're going to charge me a fee for trash collection unless I opt out. You have to be very clear. And I think you got to prove it. You got to be able to document that you notified. We sent out, we put it on Facebook. We put it on the website. Everybody should know. You see if that works in court. When I don't pay when I'm going to take you to court because you sent me a bill and I don't know what this is for. Oh, I didn't look at the website? No, there needs to be some positive, proactive proof that you told me. And I acknowledge that you're picking up my trash and I got to pay for it. You can't just say, oh, we put it on the website. This was been in effect for 30 days. Come on. No, you got to pay this bill. No, that we're going to be full of actual legal challenges, small ones, probably small claims, or somewhere. I don't know where it would. I don't know what court you'd have to go to if they charge you a fee. Actually, charged a fee for service that they're required to. If you don't want to use it, if you knew you could opt out, you would have. They got to make sure every single resident affected by this would know about it. And that's an expensive undertaking. And we only have about 6 weeks to make that happen. And it's not in place yet. It hasn't been decided. That's not on the table yet. So, and then that's just to get it rolled out. You got to have, last year they put it on the town meeting warrant for the software that the treasurer needed in order to process the fees. And that was $25,000. And we voted it down without any question because we didn't want trash fees. So we're certainly not going to pay for the software. So somebody's got to collect the fees and then somebody's got to keep track of everybody who's opting out. And then somebody's also got to keep Shaw's in the loop. Which houses have paid their fee? Oh, and then they were talking stickers. And where do you put the stickers? Where do you put the stickers? On my forehead? Where does the sticker go? Because there's no requirement to put a trash barrel out. What are you talking about? Where are the stickers going? Oh, we got to buy more stickers now. There's more money in the budget. Then, okay, I opt out. Or I don't opt out. I just can't afford this. So I'm not paying my bill. Now, they were talking about monthly versus annually. And I think annual is a good way to do it. But a lot of people don't have it. It would be like $400 for a year, maybe a little less. I don't, depending on what, I don't know what they're coming up with, how they're estimating this number. I don't know. Then, okay, if I don't have the just use $400 just for argument. Put the $400. Okay, I don't have it. So let me pay you incrementally. So they probably in Townsend, because of our income levels and all that stuff, I would say we have to have options. You can either pay yearly or monthly or quarterly. I like quarterly. I'm not out of the running on quarterly because we're already doing taxes and water bills that way. So let's just just do the same way. Although you can opt in and out, we have to have a very clear policy. This is not, oh, let's just charge a fee and here's a slip, but we're going to have the program is just as we run, we're just going to wing it as we go. No, communities that have trash fee programs have a pretty extensive policy and program guidelines on how this works, how they're collected, what are the opt-in and opt-out rules, what are any exceptions, are we going to have any kind of low-income exemptions or reduce fees? A lot of communities that have trash fees do, because this is a public health issue. If somebody really can't afford the trash fees, what are they going to do? What's the community going to do? The community is going to have to help them. They can't, oh, you got to move out of town. You got to sell your house and move. If you can't afford to pay for your trash, you got to get out of here. We're going to come after you. You know, we're going to sue you. We're going to put a lien on your house, and then we're going to have your house condemned because you got trash. We're going to fine you for putting trash out. I mean, what are you going to do? There has to be a plan for every little thing that can happen. It has to be in a guideline for them, not just us. We have to know too, but they have to know, what are we going to do? And what are your legal boundaries? And it can't be a secret document. I've asked for a guideline on purple bags, and I was told it was I'm not allowed to have it. And I never appealed that to the state, and I should have. I should ask for it again, see if I get it. Well, we don't have a program anyway. It's going south. But, whoops, I just lost my whole thing. We're still connected. That's good. I accidentally pushed a button here. So, and this is administrative nightmare. I mean, she also do it. And they said they were very clear, like they're not making any contract offers anymore. They're waiting because it keeps changing every other day. Whatever the town wants, they'll figure it out. They'll make it work. So what does the town want? And then Shaw's will come back with a price. Because they can't, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. They're done. They're really done with that. They want to help us, but they're not saying, well, this is the plan we have for you. They just can't do that anymore because it's just not, it doesn't make any sense. They're done. They're still in the game, but they're just not in the offer. You tell us what you want. And that's what he said. He was very nice about it. But then, you mean, managing this opt-in, opt-out, like if you have a multifamily dwelling, that's 2 households there. So if a landlord has, like, let's say there's a 2-family, just to keep it simple. And we have quite a few. And one of the apartments isn't rented. Then they need to go and opt out. And they don't need to have a contract. Like if you opt out, if you're just a regular resident in a trash fee situation, part of the rules in the communities that do this, you can't opt out with no plan because you're required to have your trash collected. This is a public health rule. It's state sanitation code. And you can't not have your trash collected, and you have to have a plan. Because we're in a fee situation, You have to, when you opt out, you have to have a plan. Like, where's your trash going? And it has to be legal. You can't say, well, I'm throwing in my neighbor's. I'm chipping in with my neighbor. No, you can't do that. That's not a plan. So if you're doing opt in, opt out, you have to have some kind of documentation from the hauler who is taking your trash. But if you also have to, in communities that have a trash fee, they also have for property owners, for properties that aren't rented, they're vacant. There's opt out with the landlord saying this property is not rented, it's not occupied, and then there has to be some kind of oversight to make sure that people aren't just taking advantage of that. Not that everybody's lying, but I'm not saying that, but the town needs to. You keep honest people honest. That's all it is, and it's basic auditing 101. And that you got somebody saying, I'm opting out because I have a 2-family dwelling or a 3-family dwelling. The old tenant moved out. I'm taking 30 to 60 days to rehab the apartment. Gee, it's really trashed. I got to fix it. Or they want to modernize it, or they need some plumbing done. Or let's say the building had a fire and it's a multifamily dwelling where you would have multiple trash fees. Then you got to go down and say, okay, I had a fire. I need to opt out of my trash fees, or I even want an abatement. I even want my money back that I paid because it's not going to be, I'm not using the house. So, and that's true of a single family dwelling or a multifamily dwelling. You need to go, there has to be a plan for that. You can't say, well, you either pay it or you don't, but you need to pay the trash fee even if the house has burnt to the ground. No. You can't do that. So, but all these things have to be in a guide, and the town has to cover themselves, because some of these, if you're going to take any action against a resident for failing to follow the trash fee plan, you got to have a plan for them to not follow. So there's a big administrative thing that has to be put together before this would ever take place. But this is a lot of this is staff time. Just the time it took me to explain it. Imagine if I had to actually set it up. We're talking about committed staff time. And we're not doing good in the volunteer department. So paying a consultant to come in and set this up for us. Uh-oh. We can get help. There's some free help. Might even be some grant help out there. But in fact, part of the conversation the other night was we do have a grant that we're planning on giving back. We're not going to participate in. It's a $62,000 for the pay as you throw, the purple bag thing. But where the plan now is to cancel that whole thing. They have to give up the grant, which was part of the budget plan. It's got to just get removed, and which is fine. I mean, if we do away trash, then that's how it goes. If we're going to go to some other plan, then we still have to pay trash and have to pay back the grant, but we're not. See, that's where things start. What is she saying? Don't worry about it. But there's all these things that start to come into play, but the administrative costs, actually we'd have an increase, and administrative costs do need to get passed on to the trash fee. And one of the reasons I'm babbling here, I'm talking about all these different plans, presented these plans and what the costs are and why they won't work. And I mean, they'll work, but they're pricey. There's a lot of costs. They're not hidden. They just haven't been fully absorbed by those that are presenting them. If you've been following my channel since the beginning, you know that the trash issue is one of my biggest issues that I've had over the last year. And I've studied this over the last year. I've done a lot with learning through DEP, Mass DEP. That's who operates statewide these programs, and looking at the laws, um, the trash fee, the voluntary nature of trash fees is very important. It's been tested in court. And if you were to look at Emerson versus Boston, just Google that. You'll see. The case it goes on, and it's really not trash. It's about user fees. But if you go to DOR, they have a really nice write up. I'm not going to put it up now because I don't have it ready. So I can put it up at a later date, or I'll put it on Facebook or something, or I'll put it somewhere. Oh, I can put it somewhere. I don't know. I can put it in the notes. If you go on my YouTube channel, I'll put it up. I'll post it as a file, and I think it's either under posts or community or something, all the way to the right on the menu on my channel. It won't be there right now. Sometime I'll put it up once I dig it out again. I have to find it. That very clearly explains how these user fees work and how they don't work, and the case law. Which, I mean, DOI put it all nice, put a bow on it and everything. Like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Because I was, when Veronica started in on the trash fees, I expected, let me get ready for the lawsuit. And because I was putting together everything I would need to go to Superior Court to put a kibosh on this. Because she gets something up in her head, and she just blinders on. It's my way or the highway, and she wants this. And I was like, okay, if she holds to her guns like this, I'm gonna prepare to appeal at the court, to get an injunction or something, if I possibly can. I was hoping not to hire lawyers because it's over a freaking trash bag. I don't want to pay mega bucks. It ain't cheap to hire a lawyer, especially for things like this. And I know people don't have the money to share my legal expenses, so I was a little nervous about it. But I found the DOR guideline on this, and it put it all in a nice little bow. So I sent it in to Nelson, and he talked to Adam about it, and I put a kibosh on the select board going for trash fees, because you can't do what you're thinking. You just can't do what you're thinking. And you should already know this, but because we've been dealing with this for a year. So, and the trash fees went off the table last year, and that this is all why. And it's not going to come back nicely. It's a very expensive undertaking, and you have to transfer the costs into the trash fee, which brings us to, where are we talking? And we're talking coming up towards around $40. It's, even if I'm a little high, I'm not that much. I'm not that far off from the actual cost. And I'm if and let me explain that better. The cost per household to get rid of your trash. Now, those other people, the private citizens, and I'll call them a quasi committee, because they're not a subcommittee. That's another legal document. They're kind of they're all together. Private citizens in with the FinCom, a couple of FinCom members trying to put something together to save trash. They'll say, no, Cindy, we're not talking $40. Yes, you are, because you're talking about the household cost for trash collection. You have to add in the purple bags. So even if you only have a $30 trash fee, okay, if I put out 2 bags a month, that's $37. it's a pain in the butt. Plus, not to even forget that purple bags is a pain in the butt. And we're talking convenience. So now let's talk about private collection. I'm gonna, which I actually, to be honest with everybody, I got after the select board meeting. I was already planning it. I was saving my trash, and I was planning on going private. I was going to go off the town, but I was trying to put off the cost, and it's like whatever. And I got a whole barrel, waiting for July 1st. That's too much. And I know it's starting to get warm and trash starts to smell. So I can't leave. I didn't want to keep saving my trash much longer. And I said, okay, we're at the first of the month. Anyway, I'm not too happy. The Board of Selectmen are doing this. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not surprised at all. But I went ahead and, it's on my mind. It's like, this is chaos. And with the trash going out, I knew that there's going to be a rush. The phone's, trying to get contracted. So it's like, I want to get ahead of and when I called Shaw's, I told him, I said, I want to beat the rush. So I just get everything set up for myself. And then people will dribs and drabs start calling. So I'm contracted privately with Shaw's, effective now. Hopefully, I don't have they haven't given me my barrel yet. It's really easy. They don't make it difficult. I'm hoping, I'll give you a report next week. I'm hoping that they do have everything set up. And when I put my trash out on a day that's different than town trash, we'll see if they pick it up. Wednesday right now is private hauling day. So I'm going to be putting my trash out Wednesday, and we'll see if they pick it up. Because that means I'm not putting my trash out on Tuesday. So I'm sweating it. I'm sweating it. Yes. I'll find out. Maybe I'll put it across the street. No, never mind. No, I won't. I could put my recycling over there. Nah, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's already paid for. See, it's paid for twice, so to speak, which is fine. It doesn't matter. But why did I do that? Well, because, I have to anyway. If the trash is gone, which I believe it is, and if this hybrid system, you have to pay for the purple bags anyway, plus whatever kind of crazy idea they have with the fees. I don't want to, it's confusing. It's a pain in the neck. It's chaotic. It's and I think about other residents, people who I've been following this with every detail I can from the beginning. And I know most people aren't doing that. They have lives to live. They're not paying attention. For average citizens out there to keep up with this, they just want to put their trash out and be left alone. They don't want it to be confusing. I want to put my trash out. I want to know that I put my trash out and everything's okay. I'm not going to get bills and knocks on my door and tax liens on my house. Because that's what, if you don't pay your trash bill, that's what they will be doing. And it will cost the town even more money to do that. Ask the water department. Because they're doing the same thing. Water bills, people don't pay their water bill. They don't. And they have that issue. And it's a thing. I mean, but they're good. They know how to handle that. And they do it well, I believe, because we don't hear about it. We hear about it very rarely. I heard about it at one meeting once a couple years ago. And I did a couple of public records requests because I had a heart attack to see how that's working out. I didn't realize so many people weren't paying their water bill. No, don't stop paying your water bill. Just keep, I'm not saying that to cause problems. But it's administrative stuff. And it ain't cheap for the town to do it. It's not cheap for the residents to deal with this way. No, that's not why your water bill's so high. Just no. I heard somebody thinking, no, that's not it. Skip that. Try something else. So I know that the confusion, trying to keep up. The trash changes every day. We've only had the trash bags, the purple bags, 6 months. And I mean, last year, this whole year has been a nightmare trying to keep track. And some other, we come around next summer and people are going to be trying to throw their stuff away. And people are going to be, oh, you're out of we changed it again. Oh, you didn't hear? I mean, just to let people know that trash is no longer a thing, that we're not doing it anymore, is going to be confusing enough. And there's people going to still be putting out purple bags, but nobody's coming. Nobody's going to pick up their trash if you haven't contracted privately with Shaw's. It's just going to sit there. So they didn't tell anybody back in October. I've got all the stuff that they sent out because I received what they sent out. Not once did the town of Townsend tell anybody that we were changing our trash collection program and we're going to go to purple bags. Nope. Only if you heard it word of mouth, you heard that there was some kind of forum, you got a recycling thing, you got which had in small print, here's where you can buy purple bags. But it didn't tell you anywhere on this two-sided, it wasn't laminated, I don't think. Maybe it was. Just two-sided 8.5 by 11 colorful piece of paper that came into the mail that had this whole recycling thing on it and told you where you can buy purple bags. But nowhere on it did it say, this is the trash collection program. We're changing. We're moving up. Say it any way you want. But there was nothing on that piece of paper that said, if you want to continue participating in trash collection paid for by the town, you're going to have to purchase the purple bags. If you don't, your trash will not be picked up. They didn't put that out to anywhere. Nowhere. There was no communication of that fact. So people learned the hard way by word of mouth, or if you know somebody who's following, they still haven't said it. And we've been more than 6 months out on this. They haven't told anybody that. So what do you think is going to happen July 1st when we don't have trash collection? But so that's why I went off. I'm like, I'm going off now. Because this, I don't want to participate. And I don't want to have to worry about what's next. I mean, I follow everything, so I know what's next. But I don't want to play anymore. It cost me a lot more than what's been happening. I mean, I've only used 5 bags in 6 months because I don't throw that much away. So going to $45 a month. Oh, I didn't tell you that, did I? It's $45 a month for one 64-gallon barrel that they provide. My first week, they said, don't worry about it. We'll just put out what you got. We'll pick it up, but then we'll get you your barrel very quickly. But we might not have it to you in time for your trash day. So, okay. And then you can put your recycling in any container you want, and it's unlimited. Forget any rumors that say there's a limit. There's no limit. $45 for a 64-gallon trash barrel and unlimited recycling in the container of your choice. How hard is that? I like that. That's pretty good. There's been rumors all over the place of different things. They do also offer a 96-gallon trash barrel for $50 a month. I think it's 50. Now I don't remember. It's either 50 or 55. I think it's 50. But they offer, you can use, it's a 96. Now the barrel isn't mine, it's theirs. I don't buy it. It's their barrel. I don't think I don't think that's purchasing it. I think it's their barrel. So if I go off, they'll take the barrel back. I think. I didn't ask them that. I assumed it's their barrel. Yeah, that doesn't make sense that I would get a free barrel for $45. But as long as they're picking up my trash, it might as well be mine. Who cares? If I don't put my trash out and I need the barrel for something else this week, okay, I can do that. I could use it for something else in the interim. But I'm paying $45. I'm renting it. That's it. I'm renting it. So if you're gonna have, if for your average family who might put a couple purple bags out every week, that's 7 times 4 is 28. Then you're gonna charge them about a $20 fee. That's more. That's more than the private pay. hmm It is. It's more. So get rid of the headache and just private pay anyway. Just because every single plane coming down the pike is either more, depending on your household situation, or pretty close to the same as a private hauler cost, but with no headaches. I mean, or more headaches. It's more headaches if you do all these. Well, we're going to do purple bags and a trash fee, and it's going to cost the town more money. That cost is going to be passed on to the people paying the fee, and people are bailing. So, what's the deal? Why? Why? It's going to cost a lot more, and it's possible at the end of the day we'll go back to full trash, but it's not going to be fun getting there. But I'm vehemently opposed to trash fees, which is why I have my logo back up, and that's how that's going to go. But it's a mess. But the bottom line here is the Board of Selectmen voted out trash collection. Town meeting's going to be a hoot. More than I mean, the special was not as crazy as I thought it would be. It was a little bit off center. But this one is going to be really bad, but mostly because of the budget presentation that doesn't make sense. Will probably be not approved by the town, which might be a first. Probably isn't. I mean, the town's been here we've had town meetings from day one, I think, 200 years. So it's probably not the first time the town will reject a budget. But the selectmen don't have it plan B. They don't. So I don't know what they're going to do. But that's a different video I'm going to do either today or tomorrow. I got to do it today, don't I? I didn't do any yesterday. I'm going to pay the price today. So anyway, trash by the Board of Selectmen is gone. Effective, not now, July 1st. Everything is fiscal year around here. So the Townsend Board of Selectmen voted, or I should say the Townsend Select Board, voted to do away with trash collection effective July 1st. They cut it out of their budget. And in my opinion, they are the only ones. Board of Health normally does, when things are functioning properly, which hasn't been in this town, but it's the select board that's causing this problem. But the Board of Health normally negotiates the best contract. And with the plan of better solid waste management, that's why when things are smoothly, it's been a power struggle for about 4 years with the Board of Selectmen not wanting anybody to have any authority on anything, that they want to make all the decisions, even if it's not in their expertise. And so they created a battle between the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health a few years ago, and wanted to make all the decisions on Board of Health matters, which are outside of their area. So it hasn't run smoothly at all. When things are running the way they're supposed to, the Board of Health should, and I have to say, I think they've been dropping the ball for a few years also, that looking at best what do they call it? Best practices on solid waste management and the best things to do, and looking at being open and studying the statewide issue, not just what in a closed world, but what is DEP doing? What is the statewide doing? Not just, I mean, Irene Cognan is our rep in Mass DEP. She's not a town person. I mean, she lives here. It gets confusing because she lives here. She's also the chair of our recycling committee, but her day job, she works for the state through DEP. but so by DEP, she's our rep for the region for all things trash. But even without, our Board of Health should have been more expansive in their knowledge base about solid waste management and not just let somebody give them something. Wait for Carla to give them a piece of paper. Okay. They just carry on, and they didn't even know that a contract has to be signed. We haven't had a contract really in years. There just has not been and that's a fact. And they will say they did, but they can't produce one. It's the strangest thing. I don't know. I'm not going there. But the role of the Board of Health would be to develop a solid waste management plan, but also in regards to public health, but reducing the environmentally sensitive goal of all solid waste management, at least in Massachusetts and anywhere, is reducing solid waste and getting rid of it safely and economically. And with the economical issue, if the Board of Selectmen has financial stuff, they need to explain that. And we have a Board of Health liaison. In fact, Chaz was the Board of Health liaison. He refused to meet with the Board of Health. He wanted nothing to do with the Board of Health. He wanted them to go away. But he was the liaison. So there was an absolute plan to not include the Board of Health in Board of Health matters. So now we fast forwarded towards, if there's a financial issue and the Board of Selectmen liaison should be talking to the Board of Health about alternatives to reduce costs, not direct them. Don't direct the Board of Health. Engage. And then have a healthy, professional, courteous, debates aren't always courteous, but have a debate on what is needed. Hey, we need to cut costs. Let's look at these alternative trash collection plans and see what we can try. And you start working on a plan that's 3 to 5 years in production. Not, we got to do this tomorrow, which is what happened with the purple bags. And that's what's happening right now for July 1st in the plan to get rid of trash collection. Is we're dealing with everything in this town is a friggin' emergency. I've been asking for a 5-year plan since 2014 when I was on the FinCom, then on the board, and then since as a citizen. It's like, can somebody even attempt a 5-year plan? Oh, well, we don't have this. You don't need fucking software. You don't. Everybody's got Excel. Everybody. Don't tell me, oh, I got a Mac. I use numbers. Well, that's a personal choice. I have a Mac. I've got Excel. If you don't, you need to look up why. It's because you don't want it. Excel. You could do it in Excel. You could do it on a piece of paper, for Christ's sakes. What's a 5-year plan? I don't have time. That's another video. I'm not doing it. There's plenty of them out there. But you work things out over a period of time. You don't say, oh my God, we got to do it right now. We got to change this. It's an emergency. It wasn't an emergency until you said it was. Not my problem. You need to work things out years. You could see the trends. It's called a trend analysis. You can see. You should be able to look at, and some of these numbers that are happening all the time, the public doesn't really have a regular access to. Even we could do a public records all day long, and the town can provide all the numbers that we can, but it's not going to line up on the timeline that a member of the public needs in order to try to get a sense ourselves. We could probably do quasi trend analysis, but it can't be total because we're not up to date. The numbers are going to be off, and we're going to be missing some vital information that we don't even know to ask for. And this is going without regard to the lack of transparency. Even if everybody's providing us with everything they can, they think that when we're trying to give you everything, even if they went out of their way, we hired somebody just to help the public understand. They still we couldn't do it unless you got to be in there. You got to be in the financial thing to get all the right information. You really do, to have all these reports in real time. And half the time they give us things in PDF format, and you can't do anything with that. You need it so you can work the numbers, and a lot of times they don't want to give it to us that way. That's where the transparency comes in. But it's really hard. The public, we can't really do a legitimate, complete legitimate 5-year plan ourselves. I'm certain that there are people trying to do that, and you can kind of do it. You can kind of come up with a trend, but it's not fully functional. I encourage everybody to do your best. Do your trend analysis. More people should be looking at that and saying, why is this way? And ask the question. Don't try to fix it because you don't have all the numbers. If you don't fully understand cherry sheets, if you don't fully understand reimbursements and exemptions and how some of these revolving state funds work, because we don't get reimbursed the same second. We pay for things. And then you got to understand snow and ice. You got to understand that transfer season. We're in transfer season right now. You need to understand what that means. And then you have to understand the use and management of the reserve fund, which is a FinCom fund. The select board you can ask, but the finance committee at one point is going to say, we're out of money now. Now what? You have to understand the rules of all these funds. And you have to understand where each and every line item in our budget comes from and how the rules associated with them, because different budgetary items have different rules, and these are law. And when I say rules, I mean laws. So I know somebody the other day was trying to tell me we want to transfer money from stabilization to an exemption. That doesn't even make sense. You want to give me more money? I'm already exempt. You want to give me more money? I'll take it. But that's not even feasible. Because just a basic misunderstanding or not understanding. And it's too bad. I mean, we need more education for not only the people running the town, but the people who are watching. It's tough. I know it's a lot, and I'm not trying to be the queen of information. Well, I am. I mean, I want my channel to be as much information as I can, but I just want to, guide a little bit to those trying to help out the situation. But please don't make it worse. But spend some time learning. There's a lot of information on the DOR. You go to the DOR website, DOR DLS. It's Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services. And they've got, you could be there a week and not go through everything. And that's what there's courses that anybody can take. There's some courses that you must be in a certain position, but most of the classes that they have are online and they're free. Anybody can take them. Open to the public. And I suggest anybody that is really digging their heels into this stuff, take those classes. Every member of the FinCom should be going to the ATFC meetings and trainings. Everybody. You can take the whole committee. And you can do it without violating the open meeting law. You just don't deliberate. You go there, and the only thing you talk about is you can have lunch together. FinCom used to do that. Everybody went to ATFC, and you could have lunch, and you'd sit there and go, okay, we can't talk about Townsend, but we could talk about you could talk about everything we're learning in these, because everybody would go to whatever breakout they wanted to. And it was kind of helpful because everybody wouldn't go to the same ones unless they were really adamant about it. But you can do that. You can attend these things together. You just can't talk about Townsend. The general public cannot go to an ATFC meeting. It's a private thing. They won't let you in. And I haven't tried, but as a former FinCom member, I'm well aware of their rules. And even if you are FinCom, they don't even let, if your town is not part of the AFTC, Association of ATFC, it's the Association of Town Finance Committees. If your town is not a member, you can't go to their meetings either. You can't even get the financial handbook. I mean, you can get it because people publish it online. But anyway, it's out there. You need, speaking of which, get the finance committee handbook. Anybody that's interested in what's going on, because it explains a lot. Really does. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. It's been almost an hour and a half, and I've got the news on my TV with no volume, so something's going on. Okay, so that's my conversation about trash. Sticking with my no trash fee conversation. I don't have a better answer about trash. Because this is in the hands of the select board, and unfortunately, that's where it needs to be. They are tasked with doing the budget, and they failed. They're not presenting the budget at town meeting. They've already decided that. And they've canceled trash. That's probably their biggest task is the budget, and they're not doing it. They just quit. And their role, they sign trash contracts. So we can come up with crap. Board of Health can come up with whatever they want. The Board of Selectmen has to agree, and they have to sign the contract. And if it doesn't meet their agenda, there's no contract. So all we can do is to try to get the Board of Selectmen to comply. But I know, I apologize that sometimes I can be a pessimist, but I really think trash collection is gone. And for my own personal, I believe that in the end, it's not cheaper for people living by themselves, not producing a lot of trash, but I think there is not going to be an alternative to costs. It's not going to be cheaper anymore to be a single person with a very minimal amount of trash. That is not going to be as cheap as it is right now. We're going to be paying a lot more anyway. So I do think that privately contracting is cheaper. It's possible. This is not, I don't have any information to this, but if we do away with trash and everybody's going off the town, if we have to, I mean, who knows? Maybe Shaw's will do a different fee structure. I doubt it. Because I think the 45, considering everything, I think that is the most functional. I think that that's probably, that does capture the costs. That it properly captures the cost. I don't think that's a bad number. I don't think it's not a bad number. I'm sorry. It's not a bad number. It's a bad number for those that don't have it, or it's a bad number for, that's because, well, it's a year, $400, I mean, $400 or $500 a year, maybe $6 is a lot for some people, a lot of people. With costs going up, tariffs hitting us, a recession around the corner. I know it's tough, but I think it's going to be okay. But this is all the select board. I don't think we can. I think things are going to be presented in a very messed up way at town meeting, and I can only hope for the best. But this is all in the select board hands. I don't think there's a motion we can make on town meeting that will change it. I think there's going to be a mess with the budget at town meeting, but I don't think it's going to have an impact on trash. I know that sounds weird. And people are out there saying, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I think I do. I think I might be right. All right, I'm going to let everybody go. I've been talking an hour and a half. I'm going to go refill my coffee and maybe do another video today. I got at least 2 more to do before town meeting. Pollen's in my throat. Ouch. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for playing along tonight or today. It's morning. It's still morning. Sunday morning. Here I am doing videos. I think it's not going to rain again till later. I should be out in the yard. All right. Okay. So I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you for listening to me talk about my not so favorite topic. And please like this video, share with your friends. And if you haven't already, it really helps to subscribe. That reminds me. Oh, look at that. This is an example of a banner. Never mind. I have no idea. Create a banner. Never mind. I'll do this some other time. Right, cancel. All right. I'll see you on the next video. Okay. Where's my music? Here we go.